brought straight and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rattling, the bombers singing air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, Satan, that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Please stand and welcome Majority Leader of the Florida Senate, Carlos Lopez Pincel.
Florida has the opportunity to elect the next president of the United States, so that 6 days from today, we will be able to say, ladies and gentlemen, welcome the president-elect of the United States, Mitt Romney.
Governor Bush, and thank you, Congressman Connie Mack. I'm excited to be here with the next United States Senator from Florida. Thank you, Connie. Thank you to the Diaz-Balart brothers, both Mario and Lincoln, and thank you, Eliana Ross-Lightman. She is terrific. Now, President Shalala welcomed me here. I'm pleased to have her welcome and the chance to be here with you. And I understand your wife is here, Marco. Where's Jeanette? She's here somewhere. Where's Jeanette? There she is. Jeanette Rubio right here. Hello, Jeanette. Boy, this is exciting. What a... Thank you so very much. What an honor to be with you. And I know, oh, you want that as well. All right, okay. With full hearts today, excited about the prospects ahead. We also have heavy hearts given the number of people who are in a time of great difficulty given the hurricane that has struck the middle Atlantic states of our country. Our thoughts and prayers go to them, and if you have the capacity to send $1 or $2 or a lot more to people there, you can send that to the Red Cross or Salvation Army or any other group. But I want you to know that that's one of the great characteristics of our people. We come together in times of trial, and this is one of those times for millions of people in our country. So do your very best in your prayers and your thoughts and with your funds if you can. And in 6 days, there's some other things I'd like you to do. whole nation's going to come together. Because in 7 days, after that, some of those. We have them here at home. We have an economy that is not creating the jobs that the American people need. Many of you from University of Miami here today know that when you graduate, you want to have a good job. And right now, about half the kids coming out of college can't find work or college-level work, despite the fact of having large student debts, and I want to change that. We also have other challenges. We have some 23 million Americans that are struggling to get a good job. We also have 1 out of 6 Americans living in poverty. We have 47 million Americans on food stamps. That's what's happening here at home. Then around the world we face challenges as well, as Iran speeds along its course to become nuclear, as we also face competition for jobs from China and other nations. We face some real challenges, and as a result of that, it is my view that we should not continue along the same path, but it's time to take a new path of bold, aggressive change. Because the road we're on is not doing so well. As I think about what we need to do, I actually have a plan with 5 key steps to get this economy going. And to make sure that when you graduate, there'll be a job there, and to get those 23 million people working, and to make sure that we help people get off of food stamps because they got good jobs and good incomes. And for that to happen, these 5 steps will create 12 million jobs. And because of those jobs, you'll see more take-home pay. And you may know what those steps are, but just a reminder. Number 1, because of an interesting development in technology, we learned not just how to drill into the earth and to tap into pockets of oil and gas, and by virtue of that, we have a lot more of that stuff than we thought. And if we take full advantage of our oil and our gas and our coal and our renewables and our nuclear, North America can be energy independent in 8 years. Along right here, I'll make sure and build that pipeline from Canada as well. Number two, a nation which is highly productive. By the way, you hear that term. I remember in school hearing that America was the most productive nation in the world, and I wondered what that meant exactly. What they do is they look at how much stuff we make in a year as a nation, goods and services, and divide by the number of people in the workforce, and that's the output per person. And we're number 1 in the world in major nations in making things per person. And that means the trade is good for us. We can sell things to other nations, and that creates jobs here and helps raise incomes. There's a huge opportunity for us right next door in Latin America, because the economy of Latin America is almost like China. So we want to trade more with Latin America. Want to make sure that people abide by the rules of trade, and so if a nation doesn't play by the rules, and China, by the way, has not played by the rules over the last couple of decades, that's got to stop so we can make sure and create jobs for Americans. And anytime we have trade that is fair and a level playing field, we will win, and that's going to happen. Number 3, we need to make sure that the workers of today have the skills they need to succeed. And that means training programs that are designed to help them. And by the way, we have 47 different federal government training programs. Can you imagine? 47 reporting to 8 different agencies. Think of all the bureaucrats and all the overhead. What I want to do is take that money, bundle it up, and send Florida back its share, and let Florida create the training programs for its own people they need. Giving people the skills they need is not just for our current folks, but also for young people coming along. We need to make sure that our schools are providing the skills our people need as well. And you know, I don't know anyone in the country who's done a better job at demonstrating how to make schools work for our kids than Governor Jeb Bush, all right? a lot better than I can, but he put in place legislation such that people are able to determine in Florida whether the school is succeeding or not, because schools are graded. And then, secondly, he was able to make sure that funding from the state followed the student, so that if the student and his or her parents wanted to go to a different school because their school had been failing, they'd be able to do that. Now, I had a very similar idea that came to me by talking to Jeb Bush with federal dollars, and that is we're going to make sure that federal dollars follow the young people so parents can choose the school of their choice for kids get the education they want. So number one, an immediate boost to our economy with energy. Number two, a boost to our economy by more trade, particularly with Latin America. Number three, helping people today with better skills, and for tomorrow, a bigger investment in the education of our young people. And number four, this relates to something which I hope you understand is also about jobs, and that's the national budget, the debt, the deficit. The deficit, of course, is how much more we spend every year than we take in. And it's been about $1 trillion a year for the last few years. And that adds up to the national debt. And by the way, what happens with that national debt is that we pay interest on it. It's just like a credit card debt. The interest rate's lower for now. But at some point, those interest rates will probably go up. And guess who pays that interest? You young people do. All right? When you get your first paycheck, you're going to see a withholding amount for the government for taxes. And that's going to be paying a large share of the interest burden of this country. Not for things you've gotten, but for things that have been spent on my generation. And my view is that young people across America should recognize you need to vote for people who will finally tame the federal deficit and get America on track to a balanced budget. This means jobs, too. This is about employment, and let me tell you why. If you're an entrepreneur and you're thinking about starting your business, and you're wondering whether to risk your life savings starting a business, or if you're a major corporation and you've been entrusted with the resources of other people, and you wonder where to invest them, if you think America is headed towards Greece, or Italy, or Spain, with an economic crisis ahead, then you're less likely to invest in starting a new business and hiring people. And so people pull back, and that's what you're seeing happening all over this country. Companies, very large and very small, are pulling back, holding on to see what the future holds. So one more reason to do what we have not been willing to do for these last decades, and that is balance our budget, is to create more jobs. My priority is fiscal solvency and creating jobs for the American people with higher take-home pay. Number five is this. I want to help small business. I want small business to grow and thrive and add more jobs. Small businesses create about 2/3 of the jobs in America, half over the last 15 years. But small businesses have felt just crushed over the last several years. And one of the reasons for that is how much taxes people pay in business. I was with a guy in St. Louis who has a small business. It has 4 employees. And he calculated how much of his earnings go to the government in his business. He first took a look at the federal taxes, income taxes, then the federal payroll taxes, then the state income tax, then real estate tax, then gasoline tax. And when he added all that up, over half of what he was making was going to government. And he said, think about this. You take a risk to start a small business, most likely it won't succeed. Most small businesses don't make it. But you take a risk, and if you're lucky enough to be successful, then the government wants more than half what you make. And as a result of that, you have a lot of small businesses that aren't getting started. As a matter of fact, today, the startup of small businesses is at a 30-year low. We need to make business once again want to invest, grow in America. Why? Because we want the jobs and the rising take-home.